Coming at you on another beautiful Saturday morning and or afternoon. Want to go ahead and welcome you. We are super excited. Obviously, I have a ton of people with me here. This is the November 2020 Speakers Magazine cover reveal and issue walkthrough. And obviously, I could not do this without the amazing visionary herself, Miss Pam Perry, in the building. Detroit, Michigan, stand up. Hello. How you
Hey,
doing?
doing good. Hey, Brian. Excited.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, is Peppy around?
Peppy is actually asleep. I think he stayed up too late last night.
He usually makes his appearance at some point during the show.
Oh, here we go. He
I
heard his
told
name.
you, he
Here he
always
is.
does.
All right, there he is.
I was like, I personally see it refuse to start until
Beautiful talk. Oh my God.
All right, you ready to go back to bed? Yeah, he stayed up too late.
all right. So as you guys come in, give us a hashtag BSN in the building. BSN Rock. See Mr. Eric. See folks coming in. So welcome. Thank you so much. And so this is going to be a conversation. First of all, I'm so excited about the November issue. I've been reading throughout the week. Jamie Foster Brown is on the cover. And we have her here joining us as well as Sierra. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves and we're just going to have a fun conversation. We also have the magazine pulled up. And so we'll be taking a look at that as we move forward. But Pam, if you want, why don't we kick off and just tell us, first of all, for that may be new, that may not know Speakers Magazine, which, by the way, we've adopted as the official magazine of Black Speakers Network. So proud for the last 3 to 4 years, feels like, and you all have been rolling every single month. And so if you're a speaker and you have not yet taken advantage of Speakers Magazine, I highly recommend making sure that you reach out. We'll give some instructions here, but it all comes down to visibility. It all comes down to creating expertise in your lane, and it all comes down to making sure that you are really taking advantage of the tools and resources here in BSN. And so Pam has been an amazing, Pam and Mark, we had Mark on last month. They are the dynamic duo, if you will. And I'm sure he's behind the scenes doing something right now. But
actually, Mark was the reason why I got in touch with Jamie, because Mark and Jamie know each other from the advertising world when Mark used to work at Uniworld. And one of the things that they both knew Chuck Morrison.
And loved him.
Rest in peace. Yes. And Chuck was one of the pioneers, I guess you would say, in multi-cultural marketing, or target marketing, basically target marketing. And he fought for Sister to Sister magazine to really get the advertising share of the dollars from Ford Motor Company, when they were like, well, who is this? What are these Black people? And they were like, no, Sister to Sister is iconic. This is where Black people listen to Jamie Foster Brown. You need to advertise it. I mean, it was, Jamie doesn't know, but maybe she does know. It was a struggle just to get them to really understand and appreciate and to support the market for Black people and for Black marketing. And so Chuck Morrison and Mark, all of them, whatever events and things that Jamie had, they would find the sponsors for that, because it was a credible market. It was a market that shouldn't be ignored. And they used to call it target marketing. Now they call it multicultural marketing. Now they call it total market. I mean, Jamie, they go through these things, but it's still Black people, and we still here. Okay. And that's the thing. So when I saw Brian with Black Speakers Network, I was like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. Unapologetic about being Black. This is who we serve. The magazine serves Black speakers unapologetically to feed and feature Black speakers. We had this guy on the cover one month as well.
Brian, is that you?
No, this was the month of September, and this is when he did his global summit. And so it's one of those things where you want to make sure that Black people are being heard, that we're being featured. You don't wait on the white media, you create your own. Just that's the power of the Black press.
Mm-hmm.
That's the power of Black radio. That's just the power that we have, and that we have to use it. And so when I saw what Brian was doing, years ago, I said, Brian, we have the same mission. We want to promote, we want to feed, we want to feature speakers, we want to educate them. He said, let's partner up. Mm-hmm. And so this particular issue had a lot of the speakers that are in BSN
Mm-hmm.
in the issue. And so these are people that aren't typically like A-list people. You're not going to hear about them unless we spotlight them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably what Jamie was saying when she created Sister to Sister. I don't want to steal your thunder, but when Jamie founded Sister to Sister magazine, there was no other magazine like that. She was a trailblazer.
And it got a lot of pushback also from
and I just wanted to comment too, Pam, when you say that it was a struggle, that's the point right there. It was a struggle because it's the time, it shows the time that they were living in, and that had not existed before.
Yeah.
So she was really breaking ground for and making way for others because of the fact that it was such a struggle. There was work to be done. And I had the opportunity to talk to her more about it, but that's exactly the role that she carved out to help Black media. And that's what we're here. That's part of the role that she played and the sign of the times and just the wall she broke through. It was, I'm sure, challenging because she was doing something that had not been done before.
It was challenging from Black people. Also, there were many of the higher echelon like, what the hell is this?
Right.
This is gossip. And I'm like, how is it gossip? There's a question and you see the answer. Nobody's making up anything. But that's how they labeled it, which was always a pain in my heart that they couldn't see it. But they had nothing else to compare it to. So that was the quickest thing that they could say. It wasn't an Essence or Ebony, very high, high end, very elevated, beautiful covers and all that. It wasn't like that. It was really like, this is the neighborhood. These are our people that we are following today. And so I came out with that magazine during the time that rap came out. And you had all these other young people coming up from the streets. Ebony and Essence and them, they were not going to cover this, Black and Proud of the fact.
Yeah, it wasn't their target.
Down on it, huh?
It wasn't their target market.
No, it wasn't. But it was very. I'm sorry, Brian. What were you saying?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
It was very difficult at the time because I was kind of shunned in the publication world, but it didn't bother me that much as I was surprised at how I took that because I knew that I was doing something that God gave me. I didn't even know how to write. I didn't know anything about writing at all, but I married a man that was incredible, and he was a Black man, and he said, "Sit down, I'm gonna teach you how to write." And my husband was worked at the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, and he was regulating oil pipelines and nuclear reactors. And then he just left his job and started working for me.
Wow.
And he taught me how to write. And he taught how to set it up. And he was just an incredible gift from God. I mean, I think Black men are just they're like filet mignon.
That's right.
They take our men and they throw them in jail and they give them drugs and they come out like mincemeat. And I'm pissed off right now because even in my age now, there's no companions that are comparable for me to have because our men so many have been destroyed. Mm-hmm. I see them out on the street here in Harlem. They have no jobs. They have no future. They have nowhere to stay. They sleep. They sleep on the street. They're full of drugs and stuff. And this was done to my community. So right now, that's where I am. I want to undo this. But I first have to let you know what was done. Because we're the first one to say Black men is not this. They ain't not this and that. I said, don't destroy my men. Don't destroy them. And especially when
they are kings.
Oh my God. Our babies are so beautiful. And, don't make them you stupid and you shut up, boy. And don't do that to them. Let them grow because they're special. They were kings. We built the pyramids. Come on. Yes. Know who we are.
Know who you are.
Our women, be careful what you say to your sons. Be careful what you say to your husbands and your boyfriends and all that. Lift them up. The world is kicking them in the butt every damn day. You don't need to be kicking them in the butt too. Y'all just try to sit down and figure it out. Get an elder in the room. I don't care what it has to be. It can be your pastor. Figure it out.
That's a conversation. Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
I think we should. I love this, and I would love for us to maybe do some introductions so that people can know exactly like who we are and what's actually going to happen.
We're right in. Okay. Well, Jamie Foster Brown is an icon, and I guess I really feel like she doesn't really need an introduction, but for those of you who don't know, she's the founder and the publisher of Sister to Sister magazine, which is now Sister to Sister magazine 2.0. And so it's on Instagram, Facebook, hundreds of thousands of people following her. She started out basically at BET as like in an administrative secretarial position.
With Bob Johnson.
Yes. And so she was for Bob Johnson. So she started BET, and then eventually she moved into producer for Video Soul. And Sierra actually interviewed her for the cover story, but I know a little bit about her, and I knew Sierra Black. I said, I want you to interview Jamie Foster Brown. But Jamie basically was one of the people compared Sister to Sister to People magazine for Black people. Okay. So that's the kind of thing. So it's not gossip. Do they call People magazine gossip? No, it's just entertainment. It's just entertainment news. But she gets to the heart of it because she cares about the community that she was highlighting. That's the difference. She never went after them. She was trying to always uplift them. That was the whole part of that.
I was in love with you, but I had been devoid. So I said that my son, I have been devoid. My understanding about how great our community is came from not living in our community. I lived in Sweden for 9 years. My husband there, and he got his degree in economics, his PhD in economics. And so Sweden is a beautiful place, and it's a wonderful place. They take care of their people, but it wasn't this. That's when I realized how magical we are as a race. So sometimes you have to be taken out of here to understand who we are.
Right. Like they say, you don't appreciate something until it's gone. But I have to add too, that's why she is identified in this magazine on this cover as a trailblazer, as well as an icon. And the thing that she's talking about now about the community of Black men, that has always been in Jamie. And that's a thread throughout her life. I learned just from interviewing her, because she said Sister to Sister came about because there was a segment of our kids in which no one wanted to listen to. So she created a platform just so that her people can be heard, and so that their story can be shared. And to me, that is very powerful. Who she is today is the same person that she has always been. And that is nurturing, feeding, caring, and creating a platform for our community. And that's to be commended.
I'm in love with you all. I truly am. I truly am in love with my community. But I do recognize that we mess up.
Right.
But there's my biggest hurt right now is that our youth don't look to us. Elders are important. Elders have wisdom and they can guide you. And we throw our elders away. That's not a good thing, because they're the ones who can tell us, baby, don't touch the hot stove because you're gonna get burned. Right. And a lot of our children are getting burned. And also our children have taken over because they become the money makers. The rappers in them, they're multimillionaires. So we got billionaires now.
They're billionaires.
Look at us. We did this. Pay attention to what our men did this. Right. Now, the messaging may not have been what we needed to hear when you're denigrating your woman. That's lessons that have to be learned. How to talk to your own people, how to talk to your women, how to talk to your children. But it came up from the streets. And so you have to look at the evolution of it. And it did put a lot of us in power that we didn't have before. I remember when there were maybe 2 Black millionaires. That's how old I am in the whole of the United States. Wow. And now we have multiple millionaires and billionaires. And so I'm proud of
Okay,
us, but
true.
at the same time, there's a lot that I want us to learn in my with the Real Sister, the Sister 2.0 that's on my Instagram. We'll be dealing with now. How do we mend our community? How do we learn how to talk to one another? Be kind. Being kind doesn't hurt. It helps. It makes you feel good also. But our children are not hearing that. They're striking out at each other. Our adults are not demonstrating good behavior. They're not acting godlike.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always aware of whether I'm always thinking about, is God looking at me right now? Because I don't want him saying, Jamie Brown, is that you coming up here? Or you just turn on around and going back down there because I'm not happy with you.
That's so true.
But our children are not getting church like I got church before. They're not getting it. There's some young pastors out there that are really good, that can really connect with our kids. I'm speaking of the church. I'm not really happy with what they're doing because they have buildings, they have land, they have wisdom. When you have, I know it's supposed to be separation of church and state, but we can't afford that right now. You have your flock there, or you had your flock there every Sunday. At that time, that's when you have to teach, let them know what's going on in the neighborhood.
That's how Martin Luther King did it. I mean, did he separate church from state? Right. I mean, the movement for Black people started in the church.
In the church.
That's where we were. That's where we could gather. That it was like our Sunday meeting, but we learned about God, but we also learned about civil rights. And we also learned about how to take things that weren't right and make them right. How to vote. So for Black people, we don't separate it. We do. Our movements came out of the church. Black press is part of that as well. So the churches and the press and the media, all of these things that shape our culture, things that shape our culture, speakers who speak shape our culture, music shapes our culture.
Right.
And so part of it is like, okay, so what messages are we throwing out there in the culture that's going to make sure that this stuff gets better for Black people?
Well, our children, see, this is the thing. When rap came out and everything, I'm the first one to put them on television. I'm the first one to write about them.
Video show. I love video show.
Hey, what are you doing? These girls on here, their pants are hanging down. You can see their drawers and what's wrong with their teeth and everything. I said, they're our kids. I don't care. I don't care.
So I have a question about that.
I'm sorry, Brian. What did you say?
I have a question about that. So, like, particularly because you started with BET and you've helped kind of curate these platforms along the years, what do you feel like has platforms like that lost its relevancy now? And even I think about Black enterprise in the mix as well. Like, what do you feel like, and if they have, what do you feel like is the more relevant, dominant platform now that, Black people can actually look to for, source of information that actually care about, the needs that we're expressing?
You're going to have, once I get out there, you're going to have to look to me because I don't know what the hell anybody else is doing. I'm so disgusted. I'm like, oh my God. No, there are many people, and T.I. and all of them, they're elders now. And now they have acquired wisdom. You see, so the more that we can speak to them and they can speak to our youth, the better it is. But before, they weren't hearing anything. But now they have children that they have to raise up in this. There are multiple pandemics out here. It's not just, Corona. It's not just Trump. It's you can't go to school. You don't have the freedoms there. You're stuck at home. You have to get along with somebody that before you could go to work or someplace and get away from that person, then come back home and, deal with. There's so many pandemics. It's the fear of what's going to happen. Are we going to get through it? And so you need to have people who are going to speak to that. I speak to that. I want my people, when they go on, and say, what do we do about relationships inside of the pandemic? What do we do about teaching inside of the pandemic? We have to change everything now. And that's what I'm focused on for my upcoming shows. So I will need as many. I want solutions. I don't want to talk about just the problem. We can see the problem every day. Mm-hmm. What's your solution to this problem?
And I'm excited about it. Can you walk us through the show? Like, what is the show and what's the vision?
Well, the show comes out.
You don't have to read about it in the magazine.
Yeah, read about it in the magazine. Don't be taking up the time.
That's what Cia wrote about in the story.
Not the whole thing. I just want to make sure people know it's coming.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we've already started. It's been a slow start because actually I was sort of retired, and and I'm like, okay, listen, I just need to have. I told God, I said, I've done what I think that you wanted me to do with the magazine, 25 years and all that, and with BET, I was with BET 4.5 years. You know that I loved on your kids. I was taking care of your babies down here. So just give me a boyfriend and just let me just go. Just a companion. And let me just, let
right into the horizon. That's
so he's like, I'm not done with you. What are you trying? I
We
was
got
like,
2.0 going on.
yeah,
Yes, Sister to Sister 2.0. They can find it on Instagram and Facebook,
right.
but that's where her producer Mike produces her shows.
Let's share ideas. Let's share. We're all family. One of the ideas that I want to share, I'll talk about this briefly, is bundling. I just love bundling. Now, what is that? And we can do that. Okay. Bundling, we did it all the time when I lived in Sweden. We all shared everything. And so there was the couples that would get together, and we brought 4 or 5 couples and said, okay, and we have children. Okay, who's washing the dishes today? We got it. The other ones, we got the kids. We're doing the groceries, or we're cleaning the house. And we were just figuring it out. Now, you got girlfriends that got kids. Maybe they don't have a significant other. You got trying to go to work. You're trying to get the kids dressed. You're trying to get homework done. You're trying to get dishes washed and everything. I mean, I look at you all and I say, oh my God, it's so much stress on my baby girls and guys who don't have, if you don't have anyone there, but you got friends. You got a big enough apartment or home, whatever. I can't, okay. Pam, I'm going to have to work late tonight. Can you pick up the kids? Okay, Jamie, you got the kids? Okay, I'll bring dinner. Okay, all right, you bring dinner?
That's it.
I'll take care of it.
We have to rely on each other.
I'll wash the dishes. We can do this. We can live in a village.
I did that when my daughter was small. I only had one, but it would always be like that swap weekend. Like, okay, so can I have a free weekend and you take her? But then my other friends would have like 2 or 3 kids, and it's like, okay, now it's your weekend. I'm like, listen, I gave you 1, and now you giving me 2 and 3. This ain't right. So anyway, no, but I know what you mean, because
we're smart people. Let's work it out. We can do this. We can really make our lives better. We can't look to the government to do it. But we're smart. That's when I learned how smart Black people were. When I was devoid of you, when I lived in Sweden 9 years, I was there. And I saw, and my husband, how did he get along with her? Girl, my husband and I, we had big afros. This is the last secret I'm gonna tell you. Big afros. Come home. We would, go to a university. We would bicycle through the cornfield. And back to our student home. Pick up the food, cook the food, wash the dishes, take everything down. Okay. Make it all neat. And then we would take out the bergamot hair grease. Is this bergamot? Hold on. This is Royal Crown. Bergamot hair grease, comb and brush with them big afros. And I would sit in between his legs. And he would part my hair, scratch it, oil it, and braid it.
Bergamot and Royal Crown.
Scratch it, oil it, and braid it. During that time, that's when we complained about, well, you said this, they hurt my feelings. He'll say, I didn't mean to, I didn't mean it that way, or whatever. You're giving yourself time to figure out what's happening to your relationship, what's happening to you personally, things that he may be or she may be observing about you, the changes that you notice now that you used to do X, Y, Z, you're not doing it anymore. Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. It was but even if I was angry with him or he was angry with me, how angry can I be if he is parting my hair, scratching my hair, greasing my
somebody, yeah.
Come on, find something in the day, during the day or the night that you can do to take care of one another. So, I think if we learn how to just take care of one another, an act of kindness, one act of kindness a day. Can just change so much and can just take all. We have a lot of pain. We have
Jamie. One act of kindness, just bringing it forward. Like right now, some people can just like somebody's page or just share somebody's post. I mean, some people just scroll and they just mean. It's like, I ain't liking that post.
Oh,
Or even they'll get to the point where they'll just block and mute, right? It's
Or
like,
they
okay,
just don't know.
social media makes people really, really demented because, people are putting up these pictures of their fake lives. And then other people who scroll through them get depressed. And I'm like, I tell my daughter, it's like, that shit ain't real. That's
Right.
That's right.
Very
they
difficult.
probably took 18 pictures before they posted that one. Okay.
But I like what Jamie said, in which we have to teach them, because even as they scroll through, let them. Some aren't even aware how far a like can go, how far a share could go, the value of that. Like, I didn't learn. I think my daughter may have taught me about when they have commercials. Look through the commercial, because that means more money for them or something like that. So I think part of it, Jamie, like she said, we got to watch her. Teach these people, teach each other how to be kind to one another. But I also like when she talked about the bundling. And I think that's a cultural thing. Sometimes our kids are so quick to want to go out on their own, when other cultures understand how long you stay in that home means you can develop and build wealth.
That's right.
So those are some of the things, you said solution based. Let's definitely have conversation about that. But here's the cover of the magazine. Go, Pam. You wanted to talk about that for sure.
Yes.
It was a pleasure.
Yes. You all can see my screen?
Yes, we can.
You were so sweet. It was, and I didn't know you were so beautiful.
Thank you. Was that for me?
So this particular issue has a little bit of a theme because it talks about media, trailblazer media icon, sister to sister. And on the back of the magazine, really talks also too about Black women in media. And so Jamie doesn't know this, but she's going to be a part of that event as well. Black Women in Media. Her name is Judith Jocks. She is actually over that. She's in New York. She'll be in touch with you, but you're part of that starts next week. So Black Women in Media, you're a trailblazer. You're the media icon. And so part of this is that we go through and you see that we have an article that talks about 3 ways to turn your knowledge into revenue. We have other speakers as well. And then particular, this one talks about 3 things speakers can do to be thankful for in 2020. And that was written by Dr. Missy Johnson. Even though 2020 was kind of like a train wreck for a lot of speakers, a lot of live events were canceled. There were still some things to be thankful for. And she outlines that. Lisa Ely, who was part of BSN, Dr. Michelle Leno, and then Bershawn Shaw, who's also in New York as well.
Yes, I like her.
Yeah, Bershawn is in there. And so that's you and Dr. Missy there. And each page of the magazine has like a little YouTube video as well. So you can interactive with the magazine. You can actually click it and watch the videos. Brian did his event last year with BSN with the Global Summit. And so there's some pictures from him of the people that were there. And again, Deja Vu, you obviously know her, Jamie, a media personality in New York. She is definitely like the Real Talk Solutions lady as well. She has a speaking business as well. I mean, her thing is that she wants to empower Black people as well. Becky A. Davis, she talks about how to turn your knowledge into revenue. Erica Lynn, she has a CD and there's her video as well. So it's a lot of things. And then there you are. And so the video that we're doing now will embed into this issue so that people can hear you as well as, come alive on the pages. Sierra wrote this story. We could have wrote a book. Actually, you do need to have a book, Jamie.
I really appreciate you all honoring me by being in the magazine. And thank you, Sierra. You were so lovely. I didn't know you were so beautiful also.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you.
And so anyway, this talks about the Black women in media and then some of the women that were honored and that'll be honored this year as well. You see Shirley Ralph, you see Kathy Hughes and all of that. So it had a theme in terms of how Black people are seen in media and how we can shape the media. Okay. Because even Lakina is a real estate broker, but she actually has a TV show. It's called, her show is called Believing in Yourself Tuesday. So people can own their own media and bring the messages that they want. Like I said, Erica Lynn has her own CD. She didn't wait for somebody to give her a contract. She created her own CD. And at 40 something years old, right? It's called Never Give Up because she didn't give up. And so it was like a mantra to her. And so that's really like the main thing, that this issue has what to be thankful for and how to create content so that you can actually, you know, uh, you can actually do your own media. You can be the
And,
person
and
that.
let's not forget what you do, Pam. You certainly provide a platform, to
Absolutely.
elevate and deliver that message. And then your partnership with Brian, this event, what we're doing here, I think that's exactly what is needed, is to, and people are moving away from big TV anyway. People are looking for very niche content.
They are.
They
really are. That is the key. They're looking for niche content, something that speaks directly to them.
Right.
Someone who really knows where they've been, where they're going. Like Jamie's been there, done that. Okay.
Right.
So she's been there, done that. And so now we can listen to her and she can actually explain to us where we're going next. What she's seen in the past really can predict some of the future. And so that's really the whole point of lot of this. The lady who's in black women in media, she's a Gen Xer, and she started this organization about 5 years ago because she felt that people weren't honoring black women in media. And she said, you know what, I'm not going to wait for them and beg people to honor us and to celebrate us. I'm going to make sure that we get our honor. And that's it.
Talk about the point, because I got to watch the beginning of the interview, and she said that she was the only black, and you were like, "What year is that?"
In 2000,
started,
2008.
I was the only black. Right? And you said, you mean all these years later, and you're still the only black? And you were really floored by how little diversity had happened over the years.
That advertising industry, and Jamie knows, is
Oh my God,
racist little community. They're just racist. And I don't know why. I mean, a lot of areas are, but the advertising agency, I was working in advertising in the 90s. For her to say in 2008, she's still the only black. I'm like, what the heck? You can't find any black copywriters, any black creative directors, any black account managers. You can't find any. So that's why companies like Uniworld or Burrell, they had to start their own agency in order to work on companies that will target the black community. So you got Coca-Cola, so then you working with Burrell, and you used to be Don Coleman, but you had different, right? We don't have them anymore, but they have black people that will work on the accounts that will target the black market. Why would you have a white agency targeting black people, casting and writing and creating content, white people for black people?
Right.
So just black people just need to be more aware to support black businesses.
Exactly. And that's what I think, that's what the education, definitely the awareness, and let me say this, the empowerment, because earlier this year, as I was attending conferences for my craft and everything, there wasn't much diversity. And me and a peer, we were talking about, we go to these conferences, and I'm like, you know what? We need to do our own conference. There are enough people we can connect with. And that is the beauty, not only of what COVID allowed for us to pause and slow down, but also social media allow us to reach out and find people and get this information. But no longer wait. Let's create our own, because we know we have enough talent out there. Let's find it, pull it together, and let's have our own conference. Not that there's anything wrong with those, but there, it should be more. It should be more colorful, more diverse. And that's what you ladies absolutely do, is you help empower us that we don't have to wait. We can go, we can do this. We can do this.
I want to take this opportunity to really thank Chuck Morrison and Mr. Perry and all those. I mean, they were just amazing in pushing forward and supporting Ebony and Black Enterprise and Sister to Sister. It was just amazing, and those are obviously, those magazines got a lot of advertising. People loved it, and we needed that in our community. And Chuck and them just really made it happen. So, and they're gone now. We don't even really have anybody. Well, we got to kind of start all over again, but
we do have to start over again.
Yeah,
because those magazines raised us. They raised me. I get my hair done, and I'm reading about this Black woman's experience. Those magazines helped raise me.
Yeah,
and so who's raising our kids now?
One of the things that, and I'm going to shut up after this, but
don't you dare shut up.
I want to know how you got your magazines in the airports. Because I used to always go and see Sister to Sister in the airports, and I would be so geeked and excited.
Thank you. One thing I'm so happy about, I was heartbroken when I saw so many of our men put in jail, because I was I had Chico DeBarge on BET. I was pre-interviewing him before he went to talk to Donnie, because I started off with Bob Johnson's secretary. You all know that, so But now that's important, because why did I get that job in the first place? Because of excellence in my work ethic, and that I was skilled. You have to have something to sell to that potential boss or whatever. You have to come with something. So anyway, I was during the interview, pre-interview, and I asked Chico. I said, he said something about being in jail for 6 years. I said, "You were in jail?" I said, "You were a singer. What are you doing in jail?" He said, "I introduced somebody to someone else. That's called conspiracy or something." I had never even heard of that.
Okay.
They be making up names.
They made up
somebody. But go ahead. Okay, let's not go there. Go ahead.
I was just so heartbroken. I said, they locked you up for that reason, and I was so broken. And so I allowed, I appreciate everyone saying how important it was to them, how important the magazine was to them. My biggest joy is that I allowed the prisoners to write in the magazine.
Oh my God.
So when I walk down the street today, they come up to me, they get on their knees, they cry, they hug me, because the magazine was all they had, so many of them. And one guy, and my readers were incredible. Let me tell you how incredible you are. There was this one guy named Ivory Floyd that wrote me and said, "Miss Brown, I've been in jail 15 years. I got locked up. I don't know where my parents." No, his family didn't know where he was. I mean, they used to pull our kids just off the street.
Wow.
So, he said, "I'm going to hang myself." And he said, "Because I don't have any family, I don't have any friends." I said, "Whoa." I was like, I went to my husband. I said, "This cannot happen." I said, "Honey, we have to print this letter. So we did. And so my readers, you guys, said, "Oh, no, heck no, hell no. You give Ivory Floyd our address. We'll be his family." And
wow.
He wrote me and said, "Thank you so much. I feel like I have a family now." Okay, long story short, years later, a girl wrote me and said she picked up, because nobody ever threw away Sister to Sister. It was always in the beauty shops with old copies. And she picked up a copy, and she was reading about what Ivory Floyd had said, and the readers writing to Ivory Floyd. And so she said, "Ivory Floyd, my uncle's name was Ivory Floyd, and he hanged himself. And they had been looking for his son all those years, and they found him in the magazine."
From the magazine. Wow.
Amazing. So
wow.
My joy, even when I'm walking down the street today, when these guys come up to me and they're, "There she is," because thank you for letting us. It meant so much to them. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even write. I didn't even know how to write. My husband taught me.
But you were what I call your passion pulled you.
Right.
Your passion pulled you. That was your purpose. Your purpose was pulling you.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to know. You just had to line up with it.
Right. Had to tap into it. And not that she needs any validation. Not that you need any validation, but I watched an interview you did with, it may have been Hustle and Love or something Hustle. And the gentleman was in jail, had been in jail. And he looked up to you so much. And his wife was there, I think, at the time. And y'all were having great conversation, but he could not express how much your magazine was helpful to him and useful to him when he was locked up. He said he would read it. He said from cover to cover.
It was. I didn't know what we were doing. It was just such a... the fact that God gave me my husband taught me how to. My husband was a genius, and I was engaged. Well, that'll be my life story. I was engaged to like, how many guys? 2 or 3 guys at the same time.
I remember how many you said.
I was like,
You
yeah,
know what-
you ought to give me a ring, okay? We're engaged. Oh my God. And my husband is I always feel like I know God loved me because he gave me that black man, Lorenzo Brown.
How
He
long was
gave
y'all
it to
was
you.
married?
You're
How long
trying.
We were married 46 years.
Yeah.
46 years.
Yeah.
That's
He taught me how to
amazing.
write.
That is amazing, isn't
Because
it? And how long you
I
been
can
married,
only
Pam?
name a few that have been married over 7 years.
Right. How long you been married, Pam?
It's 25 this year.
25?
Yay!
Congratulations.
Thank you. During the
Congratulations.
pandemic, we were on our way to Aruba, and Aruba closed the doors down. They said, nobody from the
Wow.
United States coming over here. Y'all got
Right.
that
Y'all
COVID too strong.
infected. Right.
Yeah, it's like y'all crazy.
Y'all act together.
I was
Well,
like,
I
Lord.
love black. Being in Sweden, and Swedish people are awesome, but I realized the magic that's inside of us, and I grew to love black people. I just grew to love y'all.
It shows. It shows. It's genuine and it shows. Trust me. It shows. And it's not a one-off. And that's why when you talked about this other prisoner, you did an interview. And for you to even grant that interview, that says a lot about you too. But they had, he was just saying how your magazine just built him up. And I was just fascinated because he was in such awe in talking to her, Pam. I mean, he was just everything. He was like, he just remembered everything, how you instilled in him, what you instilled in him just through the words.
I just want us as a people to learn how to love each other and become that village again. The women went down to the river. They and got the water and brought it back to the village. The men got together, hunted, and brought the meat back to the village to share.
That would be a beautiful thing, wouldn't
it? Yeah. And I think we can do that on certain levels. And I mean, we have these beautiful black women. Oh my God, you all are so gorgeous and so smart. You can do these things. And don't isolate. Remember that little brown baby boy that you have will grow up to be a black man. What kind of society is going to meet him? And will that society embrace him? Will it love him? Will you love him? Don't say, black men get up, please. Don't say that. Oh, y'all just stupid there. Don't at 2 years old, don't say, you dumb like your daddy. Don't say those things. Don't destroy him and make him less than before he becomes who he is.
So here's the solution base. I think I see what you're saying. I see the vision. I think it is possible. It will be a beautiful thing, but it all starts with self-love. You cannot love anyone else until you learn to love yourself. I'm a huge advocate about self-awareness. I think I mentioned that before, and that's where it all starts. Because all of the pain that we have, we carry it. I actually did a piece, you said uplift our black men. My first published piece was in a self-help book, and my chapter was called The Fight Within. Because culturally, as black women, we have carried so many burdens that it is a struggle, I think, not to unknowingly lay that sometimes on our men and not do it right. So I think it's with self-awareness and self-love, and that's where we start. Solutions, Jamie Foster Brown. That's the solution. That's where we start.
Thank you, little pretty ladies, little Pam and little Sierra. Where are you? You're in Atlanta, right?
Yes.
I love that apartment. Oh my God.
Thank you. I love decorating. That's one of my hobbies.
I can
tell. That's what it is. Okay.
That's one of it.
Yeah. So I want to say that this year has been like a really different year for Black people. And Dr. Ben Chavis was the month of October. He obviously was part of the Wilmington 10. A lot of people didn't know about the Wilmington 10 and that he actually went to jail unnecessarily for, I think he was in there for, oh shoot, don't get me to saying, but he went there unnecessarily, even if he went there for a day. He was there for years and he got exonerated because he was sitting at a lunch counter and they said that trying to break up civil rights, things and really being part of that whole group of 10 of them. And they said that they committed arson, and they really didn't. And they sentenced them to 35 years in jail. And I think he did like 10 or something like that. But anyway, and then Stephanie Mills was on the cover, and she has a Black Power sign like this, but she was so vocal about the vote this year. When
She really is.
Oh my God, yes. So people don't realize just how much she loves Black people too.
Mm-hmm.
Got Brian, you don't realize how much Brian loves Black people. Dr. Stacey N.C. Grant, she's out of New York as well. She's really, really loves Black people and Jamaicans, because her parents, her mother is from Jamaica, but she's a faithpreneur. So we just had like this year for a lot of the things that we were doing was very intentional, and it was intentional for us to bring you forward, for people to understand what you're speaking about and what your message is about now, and how you're making a difference in changing 2020 and beyond. 20, you've done what you did, like you said, your work is done.
Anyone that has any ideas how to unteach us the negative and to teach us the positive, that's what I want to do. That's important.
Whose spot is that? Oh, maybe that's Brian. But Pam, let me say this, Pam. That's one of the things as to even why I reached out originally, because that magazine, your magazine, Speakers Magazine, the cover alone represents, power hitters, icons, right? And for you to have that platform, because that's part of the education.
Oh, I forgot about Ed. Ed was on there too. Conversations in Black.
Yeah,
that was one of the things. That was right in March, right? That was like it. So this year has been Blackity Black. Okay, right. more than any.
And that's what, we talk about education. That's exactly what Speakers Magazine does. It helps us, it's educating us who were not aware. It's, that platform as to what these icons, what these people have done before,
Yes.
And so I applaud you too in what you're doing today, making sure these messages are heard and delivered.
And Cookie too. I forgot about Cookie. Cookie was early. Cookie was on there because Cookie really is a philanthropist, and she's really about her book was called Believing in Magic, and it talks about what you were talking about, Jamie, about just affirming our Black men. And she talks
about without them. I don't care what anybody says.
Yes.
Guess what? Let me just tell you something. Everybody wants our men. You don't hear nobody saying, "Honey, girl," we don't hear them talking about Frenchman, Italian, Chinese. Everybody want our men. Okay,
that's true. That is so
true. What are we doing here, people? We got to pay attention to that. Okay,
that is so true. That is so true. It is.
You don't hear anybody saying, "Girl, ooh la la, no Frenchman, no Italian, nothing." It's all about our men.
That's true. That is true. And you've been around the world, so you know.
I know about that filet mignon, honey.
She cracks me up. She cracks me up.
We gotta let them know that they're special. We gotta teach them. Remember, we're the first ones. We're the mothers. We're the first teachers. So when you have those sons, if you don't know what to say to them, ask somebody. Don't be tearing them down to you just like your daddy and you ain't gonna be nothing. Do not do that to our babies.
It has a lasting impact.
Yes. And I look at one of the people on Facebook here, Adrian Ego, I think it's IGO. She says, "Thanks so much for this. I just needed to deal with a television network fall through because someone did not like me." And she says, I am a speaker, a coach, and an astrologer. I'm so motivated by your message. Talking about you, Jamie. Thank you so much. You've given me hope to never give up. I may not be like everyone else, but I am me. And if I have to create my own to get the word out, that's exactly what I will do. Love this.
Tell her good luck with you, because don't listen to anybody else, because I was shunned by my people in the publishing business, very much so.
I hope she's still listening, because what I want her to know is that she doesn't have to do it alone. She has a tribe already ready to support her. So definitely reach out to Pam, reach out to anybody, but you're not alone.
Yes. And it's so true. I mean, anytime anything that happens, it has to happen in a dream team. So one of the partners was obviously Black Speakers Network. We partnered together because they have the people that can go in the magazine that we spotlight and we give them shine, but also to Black PR or blacknews.com. They actually put out the press release for you, Jamie. I don't know if you saw that, but that's out there as well. It's on blacknews.com. So they're a partner as well. So they highlight the people in the magazine, but they really highlight your cover in there. So whenever people Google you now, they'll actually see this cover all the time for the rest of life. And there's always partners. We partner with Black women in media, so it is, you can't do it alone. You do have to find people that you align with, people that have the same kind of spirit. Sierra and we work together because I just love her spirit, and people that really, we have something that we want to do, but it's going to take a team. And so people who see this, the main thing that you want to do, you can't do it alone, but you need other people to use their gifts to help you get there. Right. Like your husband, you couldn't do one part, but he could do the other part. And so that's like part of it. You've got to do that. And so
I also have to commend the women and men who were in the music business at that time. They were major advertisers. I didn't have, listen, I would call up sometime. I said, I don't have enough ads for the next issue. They would send down 4 or 5 ads.
Wow.
This is why I'm so in love with Black people, because Black people made it so. They made it so. They would do whatever they would take us on trips, and if they went on trips, I said, well, my son, he's so excited about going to Paris or something. They said, girl, we get, they get a ticket for him. So that they were children growing up, so that they would have the experience. The people who were in the music industry, those Black folks were amazing. Nobody knows about them, and nobody knows the money that they had that they could use to support. They're the ones that, found the TIs and all of those people there. And they're the ones that created the magazine, the ads for them. And also the women who, oh my God, the Black women who dressed them, who chose who the photographer would be, what the colors that they would wear. Like I went to
the stylists.
The stylists were amazing. And so there was a lot of creativity, a lot of women behind all those artists that came out there. Even, what was it? It was I was at Chevy, one of the car companies, and I was with the guys that decide what color will be inside of the cars. How the colors that would be for it. And they were telling me that they look at Mary J. Blige, these white boys telling me that they looked at Mary J. Blige to see what she was wearing in order to decide on what colors to have inside the car. Well, that was Mary's stylist that did that decided, that's the impact that we have. That's how amazing we are as a race.
Our culture leads. Black culture does lead. We lead the culture. We lead the culture with music, art, style, all of that. In terms of speaking, there are some other speaking organizations that are Caucasian, and they're fine. But when you find that you have Black people that speak, they speak with so much conviction and power and passion because of the things that we've been through.
Right. The life we've lived. Right. And just being in that community, there are tons of speaking organizations, but the Black one is the one that's going to nurture you. The Black one that is going to be able to relate to you and upbuild you and empower you and strengthen you and imbue that confidence that you need. But our culture has always been it, and it's always been taken for, stolen, but that's okay because we still lead. They
can't take something in us that's already innate in us.
Right. We always do it first, right?
We always do it first.
But
once they let us in, we do take over.
That's why they don't want to let us in. But anyway.
Right. I just don't want us to be mean to each other. I really, really, hold your tongue.
Jamie, we're going to be wrapping soon, having to wrap up soon. But, all this that we don't know, and you just said you don't know, you have no idea. We need to read about this in a book. So we're going to talk about the book, the first of many that we need.
Mike Lee is my I just love him to death, and he's my producer, and he just said that to me before we came on.
It's long overdue.
It is.
The audience
and we will help you promote it.
Yeah,
we'll help you write it.
it's long overdue. We are waiting.
Yes. So Octavia is here, and then Constance Craig is here, and Brian, you could come back and kind of close us out here. Brian
is Ghost, right? Didn't he say he had to leave?
Oh, okay. Well, he just texted me, so he was I guess he was over there on the side. So I just want to just thank you, Jamie, for being our cover girl.
Yes,
for that. Make it Sister to Sister 2.0 on Facebook, Instagram. And just really show Jamie some love, because she is still out here making things happen. If you would like to be on her platform, I'm sure you can just DM her on IG. Her producer Mike will kind of bring that forward and make it happen.
Extraordinary.
Yeah.
Thank you for being so kind. I enjoyed the interview. And Pam, thanks for loving on me. And go love on Mark. Go love on Mark. I will. Take care of our Black man. Okay. Yes. Thank you. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right. I did too. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate you both always.
All righty. Thank you.
Bye.
Talk to you guys later.
Okay,
bye-bye.
bye-bye.